There comes a phase in every great athlete's life where the cheers slowly start turning into questions, and for Cristiano Ronaldo, that phase didn't arrive quietly. It came with massive noise, endless debate, and constant scrutiny. Because when you spend years dominating football, breaking records, winning trophies, and setting standards that feel almost impossible to reach, the world doesn't just expect you to perform, it expects you to remain perfect. And the moment that perfection begins to fade even slightly, the criticism becomes louder than the applause. And that's exactly what happened during the later stage of his second spell at Manchester United, where every single performance was analyzed, every movement questioned, and every mistake magnified beyond proportion. People began to say things that once felt unthinkable, that Ronaldo was slowing down, that he was no longer suited for the modern game, that his presence in the team was becoming more of a challenge than an advantage, and suddenly the same player who had once carried teams on his shoulders was now being discussed as a problem. And what made this situation even more intense was the instability around him. A team struggling with consistency, a changing system, and an environment where pressure was building from all directions, media, fans, and critics all adding their voices to the noise. And in moments like these, most players begin to fade, confidence drops, performances suffer, and slowly their legacy starts to feel distant. But Cristiano Ronaldo has never followed the normal path, because for him, criticism has never been an ending point, it has always been a trigger, a signal that pushes him to respond in the only way he truly believes in, through work, through discipline, and through an almost obsessive commitment to improvement. While the world was busy debating his decline, Ronaldo was working in silence, training harder than ever, focusing on his fitness, refining his positioning, and adapting his style to match the demands of a new phase in his career. Because he understood something that many people overlook: evolution is the key to survival at the highest level. And slowly, those efforts began to reflect on the pitch. Crucial goals started to return, moments of brilliance reminded everyone of what he is capable of, and even in a challenging environment, he found ways to make an impact, proving that greatness doesn't disappear overnight. It adapts, it adjusts, and it finds new ways to express itself. And then came one of the biggest decisions of his career, the move to Al Nassr, a move that once again divided opinion, with many calling it the end of elite competition, suggesting that Ronaldo was stepping away from the highest level. But what those people failed to understand is that greatness isn't defined by geography, it's defined by mentality. Because no matter where he plays, Ronaldo carries the same mindset, the same hunger, and the same refusal to accept limits. And as he stepped into a completely new league, new culture, and new expectations, he once again faced the challenge of proving himself, adapting to a different style of football, leading a team in a new environment, and dealing with a different kind of pressure. But just like every other phase of his career, he approached it with relentless determination and focus. Because for Ronaldo, change has never been something to fear, it's something to conquer, and that mindset became evident almost immediately, as he began adjusting not only to the tempo and rhythm of the league but also to the expectations placed upon him as the face of a growing football project, a player whose presence alone brought global attention. And with that attention came scrutiny, every performance analyzed, every missed chance criticized, every success sometimes downplayed. But that has always been part of his journey, the constant need to prove, to silence, to rise above. And what followed was a familiar pattern, one that has defined his entire career: gradual adaptation followed by undeniable impact. Goals began to flow more consistently, his movement became sharper, his influence on teammates more visible, not just through numbers but through leadership, through example, through the standards he sets every single day. Because even in a league far from Europe's traditional spotlight, his professionalism didn't change, his discipline didn't fade, and his ambition didn't shrink. Training sessions became statements, matches became opportunities to reinforce his legacy, and slowly, the narrative started to shift from doubt to recognition, from criticism to respect. Because while the level of competition may differ, the demands of excellence remain the same, and Ronaldo continued to meet them in the only way he knows how: by delivering, by showing up, and by refusing to let his story be written by anyone else. But beyond the goals and performances, what truly stands out in this chapter of his career is the broader impact, the way his move opened doors, changed perceptions, and elevated the visibility of an entire league. Because when a player of his stature commits to a new challenge, it sends a message, it redefines possibilities, and it shifts the global football conversation. And suddenly, what was once dismissed began to attract attention, investment, and ambition. Yet, even with all of that, Ronaldo's personal mission remained unchanged: to compete, to improve, and to win. because for him success isn't tied to location, it's tied to standards, and those standards have never dropped. If anything, they've become even more important as he continues to push against time, against expectations, and against the natural decline that comes with age. And that's what makes this phase so compelling. It's not just about proving others wrong. It's about proving that evolution doesn't have an expiration date, that reinvention is always possible, and that greatness isn't a fixed point, it's a continuous process, one that requires sacrifice, resilience, and an unshakable belief in oneself. Because while many players fade quietly, holding on to past glory, Ronaldo chose a different path, one that demands adaptation, one that embraces new challenges, and one that continues to test his limits in unfamiliar territory. And in doing so, he once again demonstrated that his career has never been about comfort, it's been about growth. And as the journey continues, one thing remains clear: whether in Europe, the Middle East, or anywhere else in the world, the essence of who he is as a player doesn't change. The drive, the hunger, the obsession with being better than yesterday, it's all still there, fueling every sprint, every shot, every moment on the pitch. Because in the end, greatness isn't just about where you play, it's about how you respond when the world starts to doubt you. And time again, Ronaldo has answered that doubt in the only way he knows how: by evolving, by delivering, and by reminding everyone that true greatness never stands still. It moves forward no matter the stage, no matter the circumstances, and no matter the noise surrounding it. He approached it with focus, discipline, and determination, continuing to score goals, influence games, and inspire those around him, showing that even when the spotlight shifts, his standards never do. And this is what truly separates Cristiano Ronaldo from the rest, not just his ability to perform at his peak, but his ability to respond when things don't go his way. Because it's easy to shine when everything is perfect, but it's much harder to rise when the world starts doubting you. And time again, Ronaldo has proven that doubt doesn't define him, it fuels him. Every criticism becomes motivation, every challenge becomes an opportunity, and every setback becomes a setup for a comeback. And that's why his story isn't just about success, it's about resilience, about the ability to stand strong when everything around you is uncertain, and to keep moving forward with the same belief, the same discipline, and the same hunger. Because in the end, Cristiano Ronaldo isn't just competing against other players, he's competing against time, expectations, and his own legacy, and so far he's still winning.